are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
All right. All right. Cell phone charger's back there if you need one.
Thank you.
No problem. I thought it was going to be warm today.
It's tricking us, man.
Yeah.
This is like third fall.
That's so exactly it. Like, I'm ready for summer, but it's just not going to happen.
I feel you. I've been in Chicago for 6 years in August and never quite get used to the weather.
Where did you come from?
I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, like right outside of DC. My family's in Annapolis now.
Okay.
But then I was born in Monterey and we were there for like 4 years out in California.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I grew up about an hour and a half north of Monterey.
Oh, cool. Where at?
Santa Rosa?
Okay. I don't
It's
know.
like 2 hours north. That's wine country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You a wine drinker?
Never got into it.
No.
I would steal it as a kid.
Of course.
But yeah, like I never got to like enjoy the flavors and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm working on my certified sommelier license right now.
Oh, nice. So you're a fan of wine.
Enough. I have my intro level currently. I did that in September, and then a handful of me and my coworkers take the certified exam July 10th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's coming fast.
Sure. Is that something you just had to do for work or something you were interested in already?
Something I was interested in. I was a server for about 6 years, and then I'm working in a tasting room right now. I just hit my 1 year there in March.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always like was interested in wine and working in like, high volume chef driven restaurants. You had to have a working knowledge of it.
Sure.
And I had been going to Loyola at the time. I got my associate's degree back home in Maryland, transferred out. But I was working in the West Loop, commuting from Rogers Park, and it's like an hour and a half on the train one way.
Yeah.
And like my work week started Wednesdays, and I worked Wednesday through Sunday and Saturday, Sunday. I did a double both those days every day for a year.
Uh-huh.
And so I was doing like 25 to 30 hours in 2 days and just could not keep up with school on top of it.
Sure, yeah, that sounds like a rough schedule.
It was a lot. So it's been fun because I feel like doing this has kind of brought like the student back out in me, like the learner.
Sure.
But it's a lot of information.
Definitely. What did you get your associates in, or what were you wanting to major in at Loyola?
It was a transfer studies degree, but I was majoring in sociology when I was going out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, wine and restaurants are kind of sociological experiments, it feels like, especially working in them.
Sure.
I feel like I'm in, like, a Harvard study sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially like you said, it's a chef-driven restaurant, so the chef is kind of like the lead, and you see what dynamics and personalities people will go towards and create.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so it's been a really cool experience. I'm really nervous for the test. The level 1 is just a theory exam, and I think you have like 50 minutes for 70 questions or something like that, and it's all multiple choice. But then the level 2 is you do a theory exam, and I think you have around the same amount of questions, but some are right-in answers and you have less time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a blind tasting, so you taste 2 whites and 2 reds, and there's like a grid you have to go through, and by the end of it you have to call the grape, if it's New World or Old World, the climate, so like if it's cool, moderate, warm, country of origin, and then like age range for the wine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you have 30 minutes for that. And then there's a service portion as well where you have to like serve a master sommelier at a table.
Uh-huh.
And like they'll tell you go in and like one of the masters acts as the maitre d' and is like, okay, like this is your table, this is what they're doing, this is the restaurant concept. So you have to go, usually bring them like a Greek cocktail on a tray, and then they like put them all down. They're like, we don't want it, take it back. And you're like, okay, great. And then order sparkling wine, and there's a very specific like mechanical process that you have to go through to open it.
Oh, okay.
And if your thumb leaves the top of the cork at any time, it's an automatic failure.
Wow.
And if you fail, even if you pass the other 2 sections, if you fail one, you fail.
Oh, wow.
And then it's also like, food and wine pairing. You have to know best vintages, best producers for every region of every country in the world.
That's a lot to learn and know.
It's a lot.
And because there's new wine countries coming up, like there's a Midwest one happening, there's one in Texas happening.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of new vineyards that are coming up for people to get into.
Luckily, I think at least at the certified level, the really new nitty-gritty stuff you wouldn't need to, probably for the advanced, because there's intro, certified, advanced, and then master.
Wow.
But it's, you know, like for the level 1, there was like 20 some lecture videos. There was like a workbook you could buy on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
For the certified, there's nothing that they give you, so you just have to buy all your own wine and read all your own books and like pray that whatever you're reading is what they're gonna ask you.
Oh, that's funny.
Because you just have no idea.
Yeah, see, that's so interesting. It's a lot like, I guess, a college degree to some say, like, right, you're learning, you're stuffing as much info as you can and then hoping it's what's on the test.
Exactly. I liken the intro sommelier to like an associate's degree. Certified would be like your bachelor's, advanced would be a master's, and your master's like a PhD, doctorate.
Sure.
It's crazy.
Wow. And so, are you going to go the full masters of sommelier?
Oh goodness. I don't know. Maybe like 10 years from now, because people do like start to finish. It can take them like 10 to 15 years, and
Wow.
the master exam, I think it has like a 2% pass rate. People will take it 5, 6, 7 times and still just never pass.
Wow.
Yeah. And the head sommelier at my restaurant became a master in November.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime he talks to me, I'm just scared. Because I'm like, you know so much.
Sure. So it's kind of makes an impression that's like intimidating.
Very intimidating.
Sure.
Very intimidating.
Sure.
And then the master sommelier for the company I work for, her name is Emily Wines.
Uh-huh.
And she is one of 15 people in the world to pass the master exam on the first attempt, and one of like 2 women to do that.
Wow.
She's just like a god.
Wow. And her last name is Wine, coincidentally.
Right? And I'm like, did you legally change it, or were you born in a petri dish with like an 82 Chateau? Like, I need you to tell me the truth.
Oh, that's so funny. But I guess it's just you get those coincidences in life. every
Right.
now and then. So what would you say is like your favorite wine that you're just like, this is done extremely well, you have a bottle of it, or try to get a bottle of it when you can?
That's always such a hard question, because it's like, you know, what am I eating? Or like, am I eating? Am I with friends? What's the weather like? What am I doing with my day? I like sparkling wines, but I don't like champagne. Because champagne, it has like that limestone chalk soil, and I don't like the way it feels when I drink it. But I had this Cremant, so like champagne method from Burgundy in France, 100% Chardonnay, stunning.
Sure.
My like celebration wine. I mean, my restaurant sells it for like $64 a bottle, so probably cheaper retail, but I like that one a lot. Really honey, green apple, like creamy with the bubbles on it. A little yeasty from like the autolysis.
Okay.
It's so good.
Interesting.
I don't do a lot of reds these days. Just pouring them makes me tired, but it's possible I'm just tired.
Okay, all right, okay. Those are interesting. Again, I'm not a wine fan, so I have no idea. By the way, where are you going? Because this lost the direction, so I'm going to put it into Waze.
Yeah, so I would hit a right, and then basically we'll just take Lakeshore to Michigan. And then once you get on Michigan, you go right onto Oak Street.
Right onto Oak Street from
Yeah.
Michigan. Okay, cool. Hopefully I remember. Yeah, because it seemed like it was just wanting me to do Lakeshore, but now it's trying to round. I'm like, what's that? I might have to restart my phone or restart something.
No worries.
All right.
And then, okay, the wine, if you ever have a chance to try it, you have to try it. It's, there's a region in Bordeaux in France called Sauternes, and they do, so there's a fungus that can grow in your vineyards called botrytis, and if it hits before your grapes have fully ripened, it causes gray rot and you lose your harvest, and that sucks.
Yeah.
If it happens after your grapes fully ripen, we call it noble rot, and it's some of like the most esteemed and prestigious dessert wines that are out there, because basically the fungus is like seeking water in the grape to propagate its spores, so it dehydrates it.
Yeah.
So you get like a really concentrated, almost like granulated feeling sweet wine that comes out.
Interesting.
But it can take like off one vine, you can get enough grapes to make one glass of it because the grapes are so dehydrated.
Wow. So from a full grape, it'll bring it down to practically nothing.
Exactly. So Chateau de Chem is like the producer in Sauternes. They like, it almost feels like alien when you have one. It like puts you somewhere else. It's so good.
Really?
It's so good.
I wonder if there's anything that happens in the mold that is. I'm a mycologist, so I study fungi and like all that stuff. So I wonder if there's a particular like something in the body of that fungi that will make you feel out otherworldly to a certain degree.
Like psilocybin almost.
Yeah, right? Like, you just add to that. That's so interesting. It's very possible.
Highly. Obviously, they're like expensive. Well, you can find Sauternes at like better price points, but Chateau de Chem is like the pinnacle.
Okay.
And like there's a guest who I've met at the tasting room who like I introduced to Sauternes wines, and so he bought. It was like a $700 bottle, 1983 Chateau de Chem, and he like had me open it and let me taste it, and it was probably the coolest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Sure, just that level of rarity and,
Yeah.
and the deliciousness of it. That's so interesting. Yeah, see, there's a whole world of wine I unfortunately never got into. I never appreciated it.
It's sometimes I have regrets doing this to myself, especially as we get closer to test day. I'm like, why did I do this?
Sure. But it seems like you enjoy it. You're very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
So, I think you'll do right. I think you'll do fine.
Thank you. Well, I'm praying, man.
So do you think sommelier, that's the career path for you? You're going to stick with it?
Maybe. I mean, I am a little tired of restaurants. You know, I'm coming up on almost a decade of being in them. And it's exhausting. I think working for like a distributor could be cool, or like a producer even, and doing more of the sales side of things, because like Mexican wines are my favorite. Mexico is my favorite wine producing country. And like are just now having their chance to kind of come into the market, so being able to work for a Mexican producer would be so cool.
Sure, yeah.
Really
I didn't even know Mexico was in the wine business. My family in Mexico has an agave farm, because that's like our big thing, but I didn't know wine was coming out too. That's cool.
The most notable is probably like the Valle de Guadalupe in Baja California.
Okay.
But basically it was one of, if not the first country in the New World to have planted vineyards, because when the Spanish came over in like the 1500s, they were Catholic, so having wine quickly was important.
Yeah.
And the land had taken so well to the vineyards that the Spanish crown had outlawed Mexican wine production because it was threatening the Spanish market.
Wow.
And so like the revolution wasn't until the early 1900s, and so they were able to start producing again, but they have a lot of outdated machinery, technology. It wasn't as good.
Sure.
In the 70s, they were starting to win international awards, and then in the 80s, I think there was like a ban on some foreign exports, so they were pushed out of the market. So like right now is the time for Mexican wine producers.
That's pretty cool.
If you ever see, there's the winery Montesanic in the Valle de Guadalupe. Stunning.
Okay.
Incredible wines.
Interesting. Yeah, see, that's so cool. I would not have known or guessed or thought of that. That's awesome.
And they do it like, central coastal regions, north to south. But I'm not much a tequila person, but I love mezcal.
Sure, yeah, exactly. That's what we do with it, my family. So, like, we have an uncle that what he'll do whenever there's like a yearly thing, like a Thanksgiving, Christmas, posada, whatever, he brings this big bottle of mescal that he's made, and he goes and he hands everybody a shot for you, shot for me, and he's smart because he gets a shot with
every single time.
So he knows what he's doing. But yeah, and it's like, it's so sweet and it's so smooth and smoky, and like we make it ourselves, he makes it, so it's so
cool.
It's really delicious. Yeah, I definitely like it a lot more than tequila. It's like everybody's into tequila now. I think it was George Clooney has a tequila thing that's like...
Kendall Jenner has a tequila brand.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
Okay, whatever.
But the two guys from Breaking Bad have a mezcal brand, so that's how you know it's cool.
The ones that made the show?
So the two main characters, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul.
Really?
Yeah, their brand is called like Dos Hombres, I
Dos
think.
Hombres?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I guess I might have to check it out.
Apparently they were here sometime last year, like bartending in Chicago, like serving their mescal, and I was like, if someone had told me, I would have called out to work and gone, which is probably why no one told me, because I would have called out to work and gone.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Are you a big Breaking Bad fan?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that like it's amazing TV. No, in the sense that it was so emotionally devastating I could never watch it again.
Oh.
I think I've watched it twice, and my husband has never seen it. And we've been together for 5 years, and every now and then he's like, "Can we watch Breaking Bad?" And I'm like, "You can watch Breaking Bad. I cannot watch Breaking Bad."
I'm not emotionally ready for
it was so hard.
Sure. It got pretty dark at the end. I get that. I watched it. Did you watch Better Call Saul?
I think I tried to get into it, but just didn't really follow up through it.
Okay.
Because it's more like a spin-off, right? Like Jesse isn't in it or anything, right?
It's like a leading up to the events of where they introduce that character. And then this season, which is the final season, they say it's heavily tied in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should check it out.
I say that having watched like maybe the first episode. I'm like, and that's how I feel. I'm like, maybe I should check it out now that it's done. I like Bob Odenkirk. He's hilarious. He's a great writer. So maybe I'll check it out. But who knows?
I did watch El Camino, that Breaking Bad movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I totally forgot they did that. Cause it came out, yeah.
And as we were talking about Better Call Saul, I was like, wasn't there something else?
There was. I totally forgot about it. Yeah. So are you off to work now?
Yeah, Friday night in paradise.
Friday night in paradise. This is probably a big money night, I'm assuming, in the Sommelier restaurant business.
I'm just in the tasting room, so like we pool our tips there, so not as big of a money night as you might think.
Oh, okay.
But we also, maybe like 3 weeks ago, they kind of blindsided us and told us the restaurant permanently closes on July 17th.
Oh, wow.
Don't know why.
Okay.
Which coincidentally is a week to the day after we take our certified exam.
Wow.
So now it's just like all these guests and regulars who are like, oh my God, like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I cannot think about anything except for this test right now.
Sure.
I'm still processing.
Right.
Or the next time someone complains to me and they're like, now we have to go to the suburbs, I'm going to be like, now I have to find a new way to support my life.
Right,
like,
yeah, I have to eat, so
right, like
I gotta figure that out.
I got to pay my bills. Like, I'm sorry you have to go to Oak Park, but like, I think our situations are a little unequivalent here.
Definitely. Oh gosh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been just fielding the same questions since, and I'm just like, I'm tired of talking about this.
Sure.
I'd rather be studying.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it sounds like you're going to get the certification, so that's good. You throw that on the resume.
Yeah. I hope. I mean, you only need 60% across the board, so D's get degrees.
Yeah, that's great.
My thumb just can't leave the cork.
That's it. Just don't let it leave the cork.
It's so... I was doing a mock service with one of my colleagues and like was going through opening it, and he was like, you just failed. And I hadn't even realized my thumb had left it. It must have been a fraction of a second that it went off, but still.
Maybe just put a little super glue on your thumb before you start.
Well, you have to have like a linen draped over it, and then you're like holding the neck of the bottle, 2 fingers under the linen, 2 on top, thumb on the cork, and like it's so goofy.
And does this change the flavor or affect it in some way?
It's
this presentation?
They want it's a safe way to open the bottle. And so that's really what you're getting tested on, is they want to make sure you can safely open a bottle of sparkling wine.
Oh, because it'll shoot the cork
yeah.
and they don't want it to...
It is a little too technical in my opinion. Like,
sure.
I open bottles safely, just not like that.
Yeah.
But, so it's also like the presentation, like the formality of it. But then we also, like, business is something you have to do, so you have to learn all these, like, stupid formulas for, like, pricing bottles at glass, or like you get it at cost, what do you sell it for, by the glass, by the bottle, or like there's a party of 300 people, half of them are going to have a glass of wine, the other half are going to have 3 glasses, how many bottles should you get? Okay. It's dumb.
I wouldn't even know. How many glasses come in a bottle of wine?
About 5.
5.
So standard bottle is 750 milliliters, about 25.5 ounces, and your standard glass pour is like 5 ounces.
Okay.
And It's like, sometimes it feels harder than college because I have to be like a chemist, a geographer, a geologist, a linguist, everything under the sun, basically.
Yeah, plus a sociologist, plus you have to understand finance. Yeah, that sounds a little like a lot.
It's a lot.
It sounds like you know your stuff, though.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
Grace of God and skin of my teeth.
Like you said, D's get the degrees or the certifications in this case.
Exactly.
You can get there. That's fun. How long have you been married?
We just got married in December, actually.
Oh, okay, so 6 months, 7 months now.
Yeah, coming up on it.
Congratulations. How'd you two meet?
So we were in the same student organization, and back in like 2018, so he was going to Purdue in West Lafayette at the time. I was at Loyola. And so there was like a national conference, and I was asked by like the national committee to speak at it, which was horrifying. 400 people. You could literally hear my paper that the speech was on rattling in the microphone because I was so scared.
Sure.
And so like he had been in the crowd and was like, oh my God, who is she? We didn't meet there, but like we chatted online a little bit afterwards for about a month. And then I was throwing a party, and I was like, why don't you just like come over, like, you know, come to the party, we'll have fun.
Sure.
And I just thought like we'd meet up once and then probably never see each other again, but I don't know, there was just like something about him where I was just like, at the party I was just like, I really don't want you to go back tomorrow. And he was like, I don't want to go back tomorrow. So he skipped his bus, bought a ticket for the next day, and just has been staying every night since then.
Oh wow, he just decided to move from that.
So he had not right then, but he would, for probably 4 or 5 months of the beginning of our relationship, he would work in West Lafayette, drive 2.5 hours to Chicago, spend the night, wake up super early, go back to West Lafayette to work, and then come back to Chicago that night.
Wow.
He even got like a job or two in Chicago while he was still living in West Lafayette.
Wow.
So he was dedicated.
Yeah, it sounds like it. How long were you two together for before getting married?
About almost 5 years. So our dating anniversary is like the end of March, and we got married December 17th.
Okay.
So wow. But we got engaged really early in because I was just like, I know that it's never gonna get better than you, and I don't want it to. So we like gotten engaged in July of 2019, so like only a year and a half into the relationship.
Sure, it's a year and a half in. Like, I'm gonna lock this down.
Yeah, forever.
Later.
But then obviously like everything happened, the world shut down.
Sure.
But I did get tired of saying fiance. After 3 years, I was like, can we just go back to being boyfriend and girlfriend, because this is very annoying. But it was nice to have some more like life in front of us and just grow up together a little bit more, because like everyone's stupid when they're 22.
Definitely.
You know.
Definitely. I'm 38. I'm very stupid, so I get it.
The more I grow up, the more I'm like, everybody's just faking it. We're all really dumb here.
I'm pretty sure that's really just it. Yes.
You just learn how to hide it better.
Yeah, that's it. You know. Yeah, after a while you own it. And I think like I was having this conversation with somebody about like imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's such a big issue for people in younger generations, you know, millennials and later. And it's because like earlier generations, the Gen Xers, like they didn't have the internet. They didn't have information. So like they thought they knew all there was to know because they didn't know any different. So of course they're confident in what they know. Of course they're confident in what they think. They don't know any better. And that's it. That's why we have imposter syndrome, because we understand how little we actually know and how hard it is to actually know everything.
That's been my thing with like wine. Like even after I passed my level 1, I struggled with feeling proud because I was just like so painfully aware of how much I don't know.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But
no, and that's I think that's a great attitude to have. That's I think a more important, you know, when you think you know all there is to know, that's when you stop learning. You stop trying to find new stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's intimidating, but it keeps the drive going.
Sure. Well, no, I think that's great then.
Do you have any kids?
I have one daughter.
How old is she?
She is 9 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good age.
Yeah.
9 was fun.
It's been great. Every age has been really great. I was just watching a video, like a Facebook reminder, like, hey, remember this? and it was like Father's Day, and like I was just in the bathroom pooping, and she like wasn't gonna let me poop, and like that she never let me get 10 feet away from her, so she would go in with me. But like it's been like 2 years now where she doesn't do that anymore, and I miss it. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Like they grow old, they never stop, and then eventually they go off and do their own thing, become people, and leave you all alone.
I know. I'm an only child and the only daughter too, and I was a daddy's girl for sure growing up. Like just his little shadow. Especially when we were in Monterey, we would go to like the Monterey Bay Aquarium probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah,
That's the best aquarium in the country.
I think it is. Yeah, we took her when we lived out there. We lived in San Jose, so it's like 45 minutes from
yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, we would go there, and it's awesome. We had a great time in Monterey, and she'd never seen a seal before.
Oh, and there's so many out there. The Sea Lion Cove.
Yeah, right there. And she loved it. Yeah, that's what it was. All the sea lions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super cool. You gonna have kids, you and your husband now?
Maybe.
Some maybe.
If the world, like, we're at least both on the same, like, because we're on the same page that if we had a good set of circumstances to allow us to give a good life to a child, sure. But like, we live in a 600 square foot apartment right now.
Sure. Well, you know what's funny? When I lived in San Jose, we had a 2-bedroom, 600 square foot apartment with 2 kids in it.
Oh yeah.
So it was me, mom, and 2 kids, and then me and mom split up, and so she moved here with my daughter. So I was like, well, I gotta come too. And then I went from that to like a 1,400 square foot apartment.
That's luxury.
Right? I was like, oh man. And then I actually just bought a house not far from where I picked you up at in Edgewater, and that's even bigger than the apartment.
Oh, nice. The houses out in Edgewater are really pretty.
So nice. Yeah, so nice. I'm not in one of those, but I am in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No,
me neither, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's in, what is it? It's like, it's one of the townhomes. There's like these little strips of townhomes that are.
Like the multifamily homes?
Exactly.
I love those. My goal is to live in one of those, I swear.
That's so cool. That's fun. Yeah, they're great. They are really nice. I do enjoy it. And it's a great area. Like, that's what I love about it. It's just like, there's so many restaurants, so many things to do, and all that stuff. But that's it. You bring up an interesting point that I'm noticing a lot of generations, like, later, where they don't want to have kids unless they have the situation ready for it. Whereas, and I think this is the only time period in existence where we've been able to say, well, I want it to be good for my kid, because like before the last 100 years, it was like everybody's dying. Like, if you just get your foot infected, you're gonna die, so just have a kid, who cares? Right. Like, you never thought about what's the quality of life I'm gonna provide for my child. No one cared about it. Yeah. You'd send them off to work at 2 years old, so like it just never.
You were having kids to work on your land.
Right. That's just how that happened. And then like with industrialization, right, they would send kids off to the sweatshops. Right. Like, that was just a thing that would happen. And so only now are we factoring in, can we actually do something? Is it a good idea? Yeah. Which is such an interesting thing.
And I'm glad we're on the same page, because I know like couples who one wants kids, one doesn't. They get married thinking they're going to change the other person's mind, and I'm like, that's not. It's just never going to work.
Yeah, no.
You know, so we're both very, if we can, we will. Yeah. If we can't, you know.
You're fine.
Have a cat or two.
Yeah, exactly. Dual income, no kids is a great way to live life. You have time and money. It's nice.
And I'm an only child, so I'm very selfish, and I don't like to share. My husband knows it's what's his is mine, and what's mine is mine.
See, there you go. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm Mexican, so I have 1 daughter, but I feel like I'm legally required to have 8 or 9 more. Yeah. So that'll probably happen. But my daughter's like, you can't have any more kids. You're not allowed. And I'm like, really? She's like, you can't have a girlfriend. You can't talk to me. You can't have none of that. Aww. Her mom already remarried. I already moved on, but you know, I can't apparently.
You know, you're the dad of an only girl.
I guess so.
Well, if you guys ever, my husband, he works for this company, Sandbox VR. So it's a virtual reality gaming system. Okay. They're opening a new location in Lincoln Park in like the Lincoln Commons July 7th. Okay. Huge with kids. Really, really cool stuff. Like, he loves kids. He's so good with them.
Awesome.
So, if you want that'll have like for booking just games on there. You can let him know you met me.
Cool.
I've just been handing and tell him put me on his salary because I'm doing all his marketing for him.
Yeah, he should start paying. This is a good marketing gig here. He should pay you for it.
They do. They like make their own headsets. They have motion tracking, so you don't have to hold controllers, and they have like haptic vests.
What?
So they have like a zombie game, and so if a zombie jumps on you, you can like feel it with your haptic vest.
Oh, that's so cool.
So they have some that are geared a little bit more towards younger kids, but sometimes he's seen like 7-year-olds playing the zombie game and absolutely losing their minds.
I can imagine. That's, yeah.
But yeah, if you guys like, you know, my dad and I always had like daddy-daughter dates when we were growing up looking for stuff to do. So
yeah,
he's a great guy.
Yeah, we have daddy-daughter dinners every Wednesday.
We did every Tuesday
That's
at
awesome.
Austin Grill in Silver Spring.
Nice. Oh, that's great. So yeah, so hopefully we'll do something like that. We'll look it up. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah,
It looks like you're right here.
I am right here.
All right. It was great chatting. Thank you so much.
It was really nice to meet you. Thanks for the conversation. I hope you drive safely.
Thanks.
Take care. Have a good one.
See you.